Hello, this is Coach Colleen from Teentastic Families, and today we are talking about sudden personality changes in our teens. As parents, this can be very alarming, and for good reason, because there's many different reasons this could be happening. Now, some personality could mean angry, withdrawn, and mean to their siblings, like it's like might be undercurrent where they're just snitty remarks to the siblings, which makes them cry, or just underhanded things. Another personality change might be they might be angry, but they go the other way. They're reckless, not caring about anyone but themselves. Or they could go the opposite way. Another personality change could be they're quiet, withdrawn, not participating, like they spend a lot of time in their room. For introverts, I'm an introvert. We like spending time in our room, but this is sudden changes, okay? And so this is not their norm. And so that's what we're talking about today. So quiet, withdrawn, and in the room, and they're not wanting to participate. And another personality change could be they're quiet, but they want to please all the time. They're afraid to make a mistake. And so these things can be alarming. And so that's just 4 of many sudden changes. And we're going to be talking about some of the main reasons of those. It's not a full list. There could be other reasons, but these are 4 of the main ones. So first of all, before you go jump into conclusions about what it could be, ask your teen, hey, what's going on? I've noticed that you've been withdrawn, like you're pulling back. What's the matter? Did something happen at school? Is a friend mean to you all of a sudden? Like if they don't come up with right aways, prompt them, ask them. Maybe it's that time for girls, time of the month. Maybe it's it's starting and they're scared. And so changes might be happening and they're just not sure. So it could be something fairly simple, not that puberty is simple, but out of the other options that we'll be talking about, it's the one that would be most natural and we can deal with the easiest. So the best time to actually talk to your teen about this, to ask them initially, is even while you're driving your car, driving them somewhere. It's great because you're not having to look in each other's faces. Teens very often feel more comfortable in a car because as a parent, you're looking, you're watching the traffic around, behind, and so your attention is divided. So the person isn't quite as focused on them and they feel more comfortable that way rather than one-on-one. Sometimes even doing a puzzle or doing something that doesn't require, like playing a game, you're thinking about your next move and things like that. It might not be, depending on the game, might not be a good time to talk. But if you talk to your teen while you're doing something, that helps. Now, like I said, it could be puberty. And I've mentioned this already in a previous video. You should be the first one to tell your children about puberty, about the changes that's going to happen to their bodies and what to expect. Because anytime your child or teen hears something new, like for the very first time they get information, that is going to be the plumb line that every other information that they get is going to be lined up against. So if you hear that drugs are bad, it's going to come up, oh, mom said they're bad. I heard they're bad. And this new information they're going to compare to what they've already been told. So parents, you need to be on this and talk to your kids first. Okay. And also too, for girls, especially, with puberty, when they get emotional, you want to prepare them that their emotions might be out of just, unmanageable and just out there. And if they cannot gain control of their emotions, instruct your girls just to take 15 minutes, a half hour, and just say, excuse me, I have to go to my room for a few minutes. Let them go to their room, regroup, and then they can come back. And if they explain themselves before they go, that's the way to do it. Okay, so instruct your girls that way. The second reason there might be a severe personality change in your teen is because of drugs. I know none of us want to go there. It's a big fear for all of us that our kids would become addicted, and that's alcohol, marijuana. That's in Canada, marijuana is legal now for 18 and older. I mean, obviously our teens, get things that aren't legal all the time anyway. But it's really easy in Canada. So what I've heard from someone, I can't even remember who it was, but it was somebody in the medical field, but I can't even quote them. But they said that marijuana can change personality after one use. And so warn your kids. You know what? We want to protect our kids by sheltering them. No, parents, you need to go to some homeless shelters. You need to go talk to people who wreck their lives because of drugs. Sometimes there is homes for recovering addicts. I know in Canada there's Teen Challenge. There's the Dream Center, and I know it started in the States. So if there is something like that around you, go to it. If it's I'm a Christian, this Teen-tastic Families is a Christian-based program. I don't know if that matters to everybody, but I mean, 10 Commandments are based on the Christian guidelines, and even our laws are based on those. So I think we all have been influenced by the Christian, morals and whatnot. So and that's where I'm coming from with some of this. Parents, and you don't have to be Christian, non-Christian, has nothing to do with drugs. You need to get your kid, but sometimes if you go to a Christian organization, that's where you're going to see the best results as to how people can change, because God is truly the only rescue when it comes to life change. And so that's my personal belief. So you want to bring your kids across. We had troubled teens in our home, and my son, his piggy bank got robbed twice before I put it away. And he kept money and change and bills and stuff. He was a great saver, and I had to replace it out of my pocket. But this troubled teen we had stole from my son. And I explained to him, you know what, and this person stole for drugs. And I said, you know what, when you start using drugs, you don't care about anyone but yourself, because the need drives you to do things that hurt people you care about, and it just makes you do things that just aren't nice and aren't normally you. And my kids were very wary when it came to drugs because they saw it. There's nothing wrong with seeing it. And my kids today, they're all married and they have successful lives because they and it didn't hurt them. It helped them. In fact, one of my daughters is in social work. And so, expose them to people who have gone through it and that they can warn them. It's so much more powerful when somebody else tells your teens their life story, rather than it's just mom harping and it's just mom's like, and they zone you out, So, so that's number two. Rabbit trail there. Number three is trauma. You can have severe personality change when it comes to trauma. And I want to, for those who really want to hear a great YouTube video about that, I'm actually going to refer you to a title called, where did we go? From Trauma to Triumph by Krista Elisha. Krista Elisha is CHRISTA, Elisha, ELISHA. From Trauma to Triumph. is the title. It's on YouTube. Just search on YouTube and it'll come up. She is a Christian and she talks about trauma, and she came through, she had an abortion, and that's kind of her thing is healing, you know, from that trauma, because it is a trauma. And she mentions other traumas. They can be anything in the early years, like surgery of a parent, like, you know, when a parent goes through surgery, but we're talking teens here. So let's move on. Sudden death of someone close, a breakup of boyfriend or friendship, being humiliated or ashamed, any deeply disappointing experience, experiencing deliberately cruel treatment like mass shootings or terrorist attack. Well, that's a no-brainer. But yeah, it can be a one-time event too, like an injury, accident, violent attack. Obviously, rape would be right in there. You know what? Sexual abuse as well. We hear so much of it, like, you know, from a family member or close friend or relative. And so those are the things. And she talks about some of the symptoms of trauma. And it could be insomnia, nightmares, fatigue, being easily startled, difficulties concentrating, racing heartbeat, edginess, random agitation, headaches or migraines, restless sleep, muscle tension, emotional shock, denial or disbelief, confusion. I mean, the list goes on. I don't have time for it all. Listen to that YouTube video of hers if you really want any more information. It's truly, truly eye-opening and liberating, because she gives answers. And the last one I'm going to talk about is demonic oppression. And this again comes to the point that I am a Christian. I believe in this. I actually battled depression when I was a teen, and my stepmom prayed for me and prayed that off of me, and we rebuked it, and it was gone. I was never attacked, and I didn't battle depression after that. My son Grant, he was battled anger as a kid. He was happy and everything until he reached like 3 or 4 years old, and all of a sudden this kid just was angry. I mean, yes, you know, siblings pester, so his older sister would, you know, nag at him, pester him, and he would turn around and just wallop her. But it wasn't just that. I mean, even the school, when he started school, he was in anger management programs and whatnot. And there was a history of anger on my mom's side. And so we prayed for him. I had to wait till he was tired of being angry. There was an agreement with that person. That person has to be tired of this harassment from a demonic, you know, world. And so I ended up, when he was finally ready, leading him through renouncing it. And so if this is new to you, you're probably thinking, okay, this woman is out there. But if you have lived it, there is no one on this God's green earth that can talk you out of it, because it's real. And I lived it. And so anyway, you don't want to get prayer from just anybody. Sometimes teens will open the door to something too, through drugs. Sometimes there is a spiritual attachment there. Playing a game, Dungeons and Dragons, people, is not an innocent game. And there's other games out there that open up doors to demonic activity in your life. Serious, folks. So anyways, if you need help with that, I can pray with you. I don't like to do it alone. So but you can contact me about any of this. I am a coach, so I can walk you through some other things in life as far as raising your teens. I'm on Facebook. You can find my page there, Teentastic Families, or look me up on Colleen Fair. And also too, you can email me at teentasticfamilies@gmail.com. That's teentastic rather than fantastic. Teen, TEEN, tastic, TASTIC, families at gmail.com. So contact me if you want help walking through any of this, or if you want to join one of my 90-day programs. And I can explain more about that later. All right, have a good week. Talk to you next time.